Canada is a place where all of the entities are working against Canadians rather than for Canadians. Okay, we are seeing a massive loss for MarkCarney, and Canadians no longer have the ability to defend themselves. So welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie A.B. This is where we discuss and debrief politics, pop culture, and internet culture from an independent perspective. And if that interests you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And let's get into today's video, shall we? So first of all, I'd like to say, yes, I went to the My Chemical Romance concert this weekend. And Ticketmaster, we have to have a talk. Okay. Okay. So they said it was sold out months ago. Ticketmaster. Sold out, whatever. So I buy $350 each nosebleed seats. Nosebleed seats. Because it's presumably sold out. 2 weeks before the show, floor tickets open up for, I don't know, all in I paid $250. Yeah, I couldn't even resell my tickets because they were a resale ticket when I bought them. Why is every single entity in Canada working against us? I just want to know. To make it seem like the show is sold out and then open up a bunch more freaking seats, what are you guys doing? You know that jacks the prices of the resale tickets up. And it was already very expensive to go. $250 all in to go on the floor when I could see the same band in high school. And mind you, they put a lot of effort. This was not just a normal concert. I do not blame them for having more of an expensive ticket tour. But what I do blame is Ticketmaster for pulling this BS. And they need to be sued. They need to be sued. To lie and say that a show is sold out when it's not sold out. And Trump actually did something about this, about scalping and stuff, and that helps them, eliminate scalpers as much too. And, you know, when I had to sell those tickets, I had to put in all my tax information to get the money. Why? Because people make an actual effing living off of this. Everything works against us, okay? Every single thing. Even when we go to enjoy a night with our children, something always ends up happening, okay? Like I don't, you guys see my short that I upload, and you guys seen that video. There was so many people sticking up for those people, the truck driver. There was a petrol pass right beside it. What do you do if you can't figure it out, okay? Because people were like, oh, well, his petrol pass probably didn't work, so he's going there. Don't go to a place you're not supposed to be. Go inside and ask them to come and help you. Yeah, because the workers were like, what are you doing? Why are you taking up the entire parking lot? We are a business here. You are completely going against the grain and making everything inconvenient for all of us. What is happening? No, the truck driving issues in Canada are one that, you know, I am personally extremely affected by it because I live in the most dangerous place to drive, Highway 11 in Northern Ontario, literally from North Bay to Cochrane. I live in between there, and that is the most dangerous road in North America. This impacts me greatly. The other day, an unsecure load came off of the truck, and I ran over that unsecure load. Like the hook got stuck in my fucking tire. Do you know how mad I would be if any of my family members got into an accident and it was at the hands of this situation? Because this, I had no idea that the Humboldt situation was like a factor of what's been going on in Canada. I thought it was kind of a one-off, but that just goes to show you that 30 children could die, and those regulations, because they want to exploit people, will still not come off. So that should show you where our government's priorities are, okay? And the laws that prevent us from being able to defend ourselves is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about the government is doing this in tandem. They are doing this on purpose. I quite frankly think at this point that Canada is some giant social experiment. How much can we do to one nation before they snap? And how much can we control them via the media? I truly believe that. I will say that when I went to my sister's house this weekend, and she has a really good paying job, like, thankfully, I'm very happy for her. She deserves her money. Okay, I'm not like those people that don't think that people deserve their money. But life is very different for her because she doesn't have kids. And, you know, I could see why people who don't have kids aren't as maybe alarmed. But even then, you know, people who don't have kids talk about the crime and stuff like that. So I will say, I think that parents are the ones speaking out the most because we see what is going on in Canada, and we have already been made feel guilty for having children, and now we need to change it. Because when I had my daughter 13 years ago, this is not what the world was like. This is not what Canada was like. I literally was able to pull myself out of the gutter, okay? Pull myself out of poverty, pull myself out of my disability, okay? Not that I don't have my disability, but you know what I mean? Pull myself up. I was left when I was pregnant, and I was able to overcome being a single mom with disabilities in the Canada that we were in. So it's not that we didn't have social supports, because I don't know why the left thinks that Canada is like America in that way, where the conservatives are going to take away people's rights and people's, child tax benefit. Like, the liberals continuously say that they're the ones that invented the child tax benefit. You invented it because you amalgamated the ones that everybody was getting federally and provincially. You didn't really invent the bar here, because I didn't vote for Trudeau because I didn't know at the time what amalgamated means. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, which is probably why I shouldn't have been voting. But I didn't want that to change. I didn't want the money that I was getting from Harper to change, because it was such a better system. And I was never, when Harper was in, never afraid to screw up on my taxes quite like we are now. As you guys know, we owe the CRA $22,000 because they took away our daycare. When my grandparents called and asked, hey, can we take care of our grandchildren? They said, no, you're basically going to die if you do that. So that was off the table. And, my husband had been paying into EI, so he could have gotten EI, but that's not what he got. They gave him the wrong benefit, and now they're turning around and saying, hey, you took the wrong benefit that we recommended to you, and now you owe us $22,000, because even though, you didn't even take close to that amount of money, we're charging you interest. Our government is no better than a fucking credit card company, and I don't know why the left hasn't called this out. Maybe it's because that's their side, but like I said in my TikTok right before I went down south, you guys got to stop blaming the conservatives for everything, because MarkCarney's a liberal. He's a liberal. If you guys actually want to have a real left-leaning party, I suggest you get your crap together and get the NDP back together and vote these motherfuckers out, okay? Because you guys hate the conservatives so much, but MarkCarney does all of these things that you say the conservatives do, but 10 times. 10,000 times! They hate PierrePoilievre for having rental houses. Rental houses? MarkCarney was part of Brookfield, where he literally admits in his book that he works for the shareholders, that his only priority is the shareholders. You're right, he probably really cares about Canadians. They dance around their morals and ethics with such cognitive dissonance that I could not do it anymore. I could not do it anymore. That's why I'm not on the left. I'm barely on the right, okay? But I have common sense. And to me, our conservative party over the years has proved to me that they've never broken bodily autonomy like the liberals have. I still had access to a lot of services. Actually, I had access to my health care. Crime rate was low. Homelessness low. Economy good. People able to leave their abusive partners. I don't know what else. I have no idea how people look at the right in this country as far right, other than they have been brainwashed by CBC to believe that PierrePoilievre is far right. That is literally the only explanation, because our conservatives aren't even right enough for most conservatives, which is why the PPC people exist. And just like in this story in Ontario, I think it was Lindsay, Ontario, where the there was an intruder, they defended themselves against the intruder, and now both the intruder and this person are being charged because he defended himself. I just want to say this, okay, really quick, that if you're have gone to school for psychology at all and you stand on something like this, I just want to remind you that fight or flight exists, and you should know that when someone is in that much danger, they really do not know how to control themselves, okay? So if you have an intruder, the fact that the liberals want you to sit there and take some deep breaths and debrief the situation and then address it like that, they expect you guys to be full-on counselors to the people who are breaking into your home. How could the Canadian public, who is genuinely educated on the left, okay, even ever stick up for something so ridiculous when they know the science? It's not quotations. Fight or flight is a real thing, but you know what I mean? Now, Moose on Loose was trying to come up with, this is what Canadians have to do. We have to come up with different objects that would be legal for us to carry around to defend ourselves. That's what we have to do as the Canadian public. I would say YouTubers, but everybody has hairspray. I'm just going to throw out some random words. Hairspray. Okay. Acting crazier than them. Just, I don't know why I said that. Okay. I would just like to say studded bracelets are still legal. So are studded belts. Garlic presses. Okay. What else? Meat tenderizers. All legal things to keep in your car, okay? Maybe a purse. Mini meat tenderizers. What is wrong with Canada? And by the way, if we had decent laws and decent judges, which are, by the way, hired by the liberals, I know that people are like, oh my gosh, it's not the liberals' fault that the federal judges keep letting out criminals. Why do the federal judges keep letting out criminals, guys? Why? I'm sorry, you guys say, are you guys telling me that there's nothing that can be done? Because who's in charge of hiring and firing these people? The feds, yeah. And the only thing, by the way, that is losing Carney support is his, it was capitulation, what does that mean? To Donald Trump. They do not care that the liberals haven't implemented all of these things that they, by the way, hate about Trump, but excuse if it's the liberals doing, okay? They're completely okay with all of the censorship laws as long as it's framed. You tell me if Donald Trump did the C-18, and you tell me if the left in America wouldn't be flipping their lid, or even in Canada. If PierrePoilievre did that and you guys couldn't access the news during a conservative, time in office, you guys would be, the left would be losing their minds. Absolutely losing their minds. But it's nice to see them actually start to realize, except for they just keep calling him a conservative. Okay, well, if there was two conservatives to vote for, why did you vote for the billionaire then? If you are so concerned about MarkCarney being a conservative, why did you vote for the person who was working for Harper? There was two options. Both worked for Harper. One of them was a globalist millionaire, okay, and one of them was adopted and has worked in politics for the Canadian public his entire life. Dedicated his life to making sure freedom happens in Canada, that Canada remains sovereign. And you're telling me that you guys, who convinced you to do that? Who convinced you this was a good idea? The left needs to take a step back, okay, and realize, hey, maybe it's just a liberal we hired. Yeah, get NDP, get your crap and poop in a group. Poop in a group? What did I say at work? Either way, I'm over this. Everyone seems to be heading towards not wanting MarkCarney in office, okay, where more and more people are falling victim to all of the chaos that is happening in Canada, and more people are going to be sick of it, okay? I'm just a girl who was injured, who likes to yap, okay? But a lot of people don't feel like being bullied all the time on the internet and completely have their reputation destroyed and have family members cut off because they simply have a different opinion. And half the time, I'm not even sitting here, I'm not saying throw people with addictions in jail. Nobody's saying that. We want rehab. We want drugs off the streets. We want people to thrive in Canada again and have the opportunity to do so. Like I did. As someone who has disabilities, single mom, adopted at 16, I only say that because the left will call me privileged if I don't say that. They will say that my opinion doesn't matter because I'm white and privileged. I already get that, already says it to me, but it's a lot less than some of the other creators because they just cry white privilege. You know, they have a harder time, but they still, and even when I tell them I have a disability, they whip out comments that they would normally deem ableist from literally anybody but themselves. So anyways, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say today, but I will see you guys tomorrow or even maybe later today. I hope you guys had a really good weekend. I know I did, despite Ticketmaster PMO so bad. But anyways, guys, you have a good one. I need to go check all my veggies, okay? It is almost winter in Northern Ontario.